So, India's labor laws have just gotten their biggest shakeup in, well, decades. A whole web of old, complicated rules is being replaced with a new, modern framework. This is going to affect pretty much every single employee in the country. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what it all means for you.
All right, let's just cut to the chase, right? The big question that's probably on your mind is about your money. These new codes are changing how your salary is structured, and a lot of people are worried about their monthly paycheck. So let's tackle that head on.
So here's how we're going to break it all down for you. We'll start with your salary, then we'll zoom out to understand why these laws were changed in the first place. We'll cover the brand new rights that every worker gets, put a spotlight on some specific sectors, and finally, we'll talk about what happens next. Okay, first things first, your salary. And the heart of this whole thing is a brand new, standardized definition of wages. Now, I know that sounds a bit technical, but trust me, it has a direct impact in your bank account. And this is the big one, the new 50% rule. You see, for years, many companies kept the basic pay part of a salary pretty low and then packed the rest with all kinds of allowances. Now the law says, nope, you can't do that. Your basic pay has to be at least half of your total compensation. So what does this actually mean for your wallet? Well, it's a bit of a trade-off. Your retirement savings, like your Provident Fund and your gratuity, are calculated based on your basic pay. So if your basic pay goes up, your contributions to those funds also go up. And yes, that might mean your monthly take-home salary dips just a little, but that money isn't just disappearing. It's going straight into your long-term savings, building a much, much bigger nest egg for you down the road. But this is about way more than just your payslip. It's part of a much, much bigger story. To really get why this massive change was even necessary, we've got to look back at the laws these new codes are replacing. Can you believe it? For decades, India was juggling 29 different central labor laws. And a lot of these were old, I mean really old, like from the 1930s to the 50s, written for a completely different kind of economy. It was complicated, messy, and frankly just out of date. So the idea was basically a massive spring cleaning. Imagine taking this huge, messy pile of overlapping old rulebooks and turning them into one single, streamlined, easy-to-use guide for today's world. And that's exactly what they did. Those 29 old laws, they've been simplified and organized into just 4 new labor codes that cover everything from wages and Social Security to industrial relations and workplace safety. But look, this isn't just about tidying up old paperwork. This is a huge deal because it establishes a whole new set of rights and protections. So let's dive into some of the most important changes that now apply to every single worker. Just look at this shift. An appointment letter, it used to be optional. Now, it's your legal right. That's real job security right there. The minimum wage used to only apply to certain jobs. Now, it's universal. Social Security is being expanded to cover gig workers, and if you're over 40, you now get a free annual health checkup by law. These are some serious upgrades. And this is a really important one for contract workers. There's a new concept called fixed-term employment, or FTE. Unlike the old kind of contract work where you often got fewer benefits, FTEs get the same pay and protections as permanent staff. And get this, gratuity? You used to have to wait 5 years for that. Now, with FTE, you're eligible after just 1 year. That's a huge difference. Okay, so we've talked about the big changes that affect everyone. Now let's zoom in and see how these codes specifically help out different groups of workers. This is an absolute game changer. Think about it. For the very first time, gig work and platform work are actually defined in the law. And those big app companies, they now have to chip in a part of their turnover to a Social Security fund for their workers, bringing a real safety net to a huge and growing part of our economy. The new codes also take some big steps forward for women in the workplace. Equal pay for equal work isn't just a slogan anymore. It's legally guaranteed. And this is interesting. Women can now work night shifts in any industry as long as they give their consent and the employer puts the right safety measures in place. This really opens up a lot of doors that were previously closed. And for all you folks in the massive IT and services sector, these codes bring in some much-needed rules. For one, your salary has to be paid by the 7th of the month. No more delays. Plus, mandatory appointment letters and the new FTE contracts mean guaranteed Social Security benefits, which really strengthens the rights of millions of tech professionals. Okay, so these laws are officially here, but what does the rollout look like? And more importantly, what should you be doing right now? So let's walk through the journey. The codes were actually passed by Parliament a few years back. Now, the central government has officially given them the green light, so they are effective immediately. The clock is now ticking for the states. They have 45 days to publish their own rules that line up with this new national framework. So what's your game plan? It's pretty simple, actually. First, take a look at your salary slip. Does your basic pay make up at least 50% of the total? Second, if you don't have an official appointment letter, ask for it. It is now your legal right. And finally, get to know your new benefits. Understand what you're now eligible for. You know, the government's whole vision behind this was summed up pretty well by Union Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia. He said it's all about creating a system that empowers both employees and employers, aiming for a workforce that is secure, productive, and ready for whatever comes next. And really, that brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? The whole point of this is to find that sweet spot, protecting workers while also helping businesses grow. So, have these codes actually hit that mark? It's a massive, massive change. And honestly, only time will tell how it all truly reshapes India's workforce and its industries. Thanks for joining me for this breakdown.